Everyone's heard of Squishmallows by now, right? Squishmallows launched in 2017 by Kelly Toys, and I was there from day one. I found the Axolotl Archie Squishmallow in store, and I was instantly hooked. They're cute, they're cuddly, and fairly affordable at the time. They quickly became very popular around the world with kids and adult toy collectors. In 2020, during the COVID-19 pandemic, is when Squishmallows really blew up, I feel. They were very viral on TikTok and social media, and there started to be like a rarity system with older Squishmallows being rarer and harder to find, and people trying to, you know, collect the rare Squishmallows. And I was super into Squishmallows at this time too. I had a very large collection at the time. However, I have lost interest in Squishmallows over the past couple of years. 2020 was also the year that Jazzwares brought Kelly Toy. They started producing an insane amount of Squishmallows. So many were coming out. It was really hard to keep up. I personally started to get kind of bored of the designs. And also I feel like they kind of got lower quality. The newer ones started to feel less squishy and fabric wasn't really stretchy anymore. I just feel like they became a lot lower quality, and I feel like a lot of the newer ones just kind of ugly. They started to feel kind of more like Funko Pops to me. It's all looking the same and being low quality, and there being so many of them that they'll probably end up in landfill. You would see a lot of videos at the time of like adults fighting each other in like a Walmart or Target over some kind of new Squishmallow release. So I haven't bought Squishmallows in a long time, and I don't plan to buy any more because of the CEO being a terrible person, which I'll get to later. Of course, Squishmallows being the top toy at the time, other companies started producing their own plush to compete with Squishmallows, which is pretty normal. That's what companies do. They compete with each other. But recently, Build-A-Bear announced a new plush they're producing called Squishers. This was announced just last month, and they officially released on Valentine's Day, and this has caused Squishmallows to take legal action, claiming that Squishers is just a copycat of Squishmallows. Now, I personally love toy lawsuits. They're fascinating to me. So of course, I wanted to take a look in this and discuss my thoughts because I find this really interesting, and I feel like I can have a good say on it since I used to be a Squishmallow collector, and now I'm a Build-A-Bear collector. Now, if you don't know, Build-A-Bear is a store that's been around since 1997. That's when their first store opened. You can go into Build-A-Bear and basically you get to create your own bear. You get to choose the skin and then stuff it yourself at the machine with a worker helping you. And you go through a kind of adoption process. You name it, you get a little adoption certificate, you can find clothes for it. It's a whole experience and it's really fun. I finally got to experience it for the first time last year when Build-A-Bear finally opened in New Zealand for the first time ever, and it was beautiful. I've been collecting them for a while, been buying them online, but now I actually get to go in store and make them myself, which I recommend everyone does that at some point. It's very fun. The experience is fun, the plushies are super cute and high quality. There are so many you can get now. They've done collabs with Sanrio and Pokemon now, just like Squishmallows has as well. So Build-A-Bear's Squishers came out. There's only a few out currently. They are round and squishy. They have little arms and hands, and they still have a little Build-A-Bear logo on all of their hands, like all the Build-A-Bears do. They look cute, similar to a lot of toys that are out right now, and yeah, they do look similar to Squishmallows. Say that about a lot of toys on the market right now, and I think it's fair to assume they were probably inspired by the popularity of Squishmallows. And like I said, that's what companies do. Something gets popular and other companies make their own version similar to that something to profit off it. There are many like actual counterfeit bootlegs of Squishmallows on places like Amazon and AliExpress and stuff, which Build-A-Bear is also taking legal action within like Alibaba or something for selling fake, and that does make sense since these are like identical fakes. But is suing Build-A-Bear really fair? Jazzwares are seeking damages for Build-A-Bear to stop selling their Squishers products. The owner of Squishmallows has claimed Squishers is a quote knockoff version of Squishmallows, but Build-A-Bear is fighting back, claiming Squishers is their own version of a popular toy style. A quote from the Squishmallows CEO: "Rather than competing fairly in the marketplace by creating its own unique concepts and product lines, defendant Build-A-Bear, a company worth over $300 million, decided it would be easier to simply copy, imitate, and profit off the popularity and goodwill of Squishmallows, in all hopes of confusing customers into buying its products instead of Squishmallows." The Jazzwares lawsuits claim Squishers have the same Squishmallow features such as Asian-style kawaii faces, that's a direct quote, embroidered facial features, distinctive coloring, and the same velvety texturing. Build-A-Bear has fired back with their own statements, challenging the claim that the company violated Squishmallows' distinctive trade dress, or overall appearance or feel of a product. Quote from Build-A-Bear, "If each aspect of the claimed trade dress were in fact protected trade dress, it would be virtually impossible for competitors to create alternate designs." That's all we know so far. I will link down below the article that I got these quotes from in the comments if you want to read more into it, but that's pretty much all it says. So let's think about that. Squishmallows is claiming Build-A-Bear is trying to trick customers into purchasing their Scooshes instead of Squishmallows, making them look too similar and feel too similar to Squishmallows. I personally find this really interesting, considering Squishmallows isn't that original. Yes, it's fair to say they popularized this style of plush mostly in the West. This type of squishy plushie with kawaii faces, I'm only saying it because that's what they call it, has been a thing for a long time, and usually back in the day were called like mochi plush. They have the soft velvety squishy fabric, they have the embroidered simple kawaii faces. Plush like this have been around a long time, especially in places like Japan, and I personally think that's where Squishmallows got their inspiration from, since they did say themselves that they are going for a Japanese kawaii style. So who's to say that they just copied them but just made them like all different animals and stuff? Did they copy their trade dress and their velvety texture and their squishiness and their embroidered faces? I'm not saying they did, because they're different enough to me, but that's what they're saying about Scooshes. I think the most unique thing about Squishmallows is the egg shape they have, and the fact that there's so many different like animals and stuff that they do, which also makes it harder for other companies to make those same animals, because they've done like every single animal there is as a Squishmallow. I went out the other day to my local toy stores to see how many plush I could find similar to Squishmallows, and I found a heckin' lot. Like the Thai Squishaboos, they've been out for a while. They even have the same egg shape. Their faces are pretty different though, but they still feel a lot like Squishmallows and definitely look inspired. Zoro's Snackles, these are really cute. They actually feel kind of better than Squishmallows and they kind of look more interesting. Mattel has these Qtopia ones, which actually my fiance has one of the Star Wars ones, and it feels so good. It feels better than a Squishmallow. Maybe that's just because the new Squishmallows don't feel that good anymore. And there's plenty more out there. I find this even more ironic because Squishmallows has been accused of copying other brands and copying small artists. Squishables is a plush company that started in 2007 before Squishmallows. They make these adorable looking plush, which unfortunately I've never had any of these. I don't think they sell them in my country, which is such a shame because they look amazing. They're also the company that made the very popular Plague Doctor plushes, which you've probably seen on the internet before, and guess who copied that design? Squishmallows. Which is a pretty obvious copy to me. I mean, it's a pretty unique design. I did see that Squishables was looking into this, but I haven't heard of anything happen in the end. I don't know if there was a lawsuit, I have no idea. There are a number of artists that Squishmallows have been accused of copying. The creator on Instagram, squish_light, designed and created these adorable fruit bat designs. They basically custom made their own Squishmallows of these, and Squishmallows copied their exact design. And unfortunately this creator doesn't post anymore. The creator, Squishy Creations, one on Instagram, created the strawberry frog design, and Squishmallows copied it. I've seen some people defend this, saying that because these are custom Squishmallows, they don't technically own these designs, and Squishmallows is allowed to just take them, and they can't actually fight for that design because it's made by Squishmallows, which is probably true, but that doesn't make it okay for companies to just steal from artists that support Squishmallows, that work hard on making their own Squishmallows because they like them so much, and they just completely rip off their design. Most companies don't just steal their fans' designs. And Squishmallow content creators is what popularized Squishmallows, you know, they went viral online. I feel they should appreciate their fans a little bit more. Build-A-Bear decided it would be easier to simply copy, imitate, and profit off the popularity and goodwill of Squishmallows. An ironic statement, since Squishmallow copy, imitate, and profit off other companies' designs and fans' creations. So I went to my local Build-A-Bear and had a look at the new Scooshes. I wanted to see them in real life and feel what they felt like. And in real life, they do look pretty different. Like, they are a lot more of a round shape. They're not an egg shape like Squishmallows are. They all have little arms sticking out with the Build-A-Bear logo on it, so I don't see how that's like tricking customers into thinking they're Squishmallows when they have a very obvious Build-A-Bear paw on it. I feel like it's fairly obvious they're based on their Build-A-Bear design. They kind of look like if you took the head off like the frog or the Axolotl Build-A-Bear and just made it into a plush squishy thing instead. Seeing them in real life made me even more confused as to why they're suing them when there are other ones that are a lot more similar. I think just Build-A-Bear is the bigger company, so they went for them. So I don't think Squishmallows is gonna win this lawsuit at all, and I kind of hope they lose a lot of money doing so. But this lawsuit has given me a good opportunity to talk about all the shady things that Squishmallows has done, and I feel like it's important I also mention the Jazzwares CEO, some of the recent posts he's made publicly on his LinkedIn profile. He's publicly showed support for Israel and the genocide of Palestinians and is donating money directly to Israel's soldiers. Obviously this is a lot more serious than a lawsuit with Build-A-Bear, and because of this I also suggest you stop supporting Squishmallows and anything else Jazzwares make, because your money could be going towards supporting this. Now if you do already own Squishmallows, I still have some of mine. I don't think there's anything bad with still having ones that you've brought previously. I just think it's a good idea to try not to buy any anymore. I just think if a company is publicly gonna post something like this, we need to show that we don't support that. I would suggest finding different brands. There are many other plush brands out there that you can support. I mean, thrifting Squishmallows is a good idea if you really want them, but there's so many better brands out there anyway. I asked you guys on Twitter for your favorite plush brands that are good alternatives to Squishmallows and got some great suggestions from you guys. Of course there's Squishables and Build-A-Bear, but there's also Jellycat, Aurora, Thai Beanie Babies, Pop Art Softies, and the Wild Republic toys. That's some of the great suggestions, but there's more to it, and feel free to leave your own suggestions in the comments as well. And yeah, that's all for this video. I find this whole thing interesting. I love toy lawsuits. They fascinate me, but I felt, you know, it's also important that I mention the more serious things going on too. Hope you guys like this video. Let me know your thoughts on the lawsuit, and let me know your favorite plush brands in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!